So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the call today. Thank you for joining. I'm Joanna Hitchin, Social Value and EDI Lead for Costain Highways, and really appreciate your time this morning and for putting your hands up to come and learn about the National Highways Social Value tool. Costain has been creating social value on our projects for many, many years, and it's really great that our clients and National Highways in particular are now capturing and recording all the activities that we and your businesses, of course, because I know that your businesses are also very good at generating social value and community impact where we work. So this is a great thing that we can all now record and benchmark all the activities that happen on our infrastructure project. So I would like to thank Bryony from the Supply Chain Sustainability School, who's going to talk us through the tool this morning, and my colleagues Natalie and Joe, and we can have a discussion at the end to answer any questions, but I will hand straight over to Bryony now. Thank you, Bryony.
That's great. Thanks, Joanna. Yes, so my name's Bryony. So I, as Joanna says, work with the Supply Chain Sustainability School, and I'm one of the account managers with National Highways. And my role predominantly has been the rollout of the new social value tool. So it was launched in May of last year, and we're sort of nearly into kind of the third quarter of reporting. And the purpose of today, as Joanna says, is just to kind of give everybody a bit of an upskill and some training on the tool. I know some of you may already be reporting on the tool or may have used it. You may be using it with other tier 1 contractors within the RDP. So there may be some things that you kind of already know, or this kind of is just a bit of a refresher for some people. So just making sure everyone really knows how to use the tool and kind of the purpose of why National Highways created it. So I'll just share my screen. So what we're going to do is we'll go through just some slides just to kind of talk a little bit about the tool, and then I'll hand back over to Joanna and Natalie, who are going to talk a bit about social value within Costain's RDP framework. And then we'll go and have a little demo of the tool as well, and actually sort of show you just kind of where to find things and a bit of a go around the tool. So for those of you who have been kind of working on the RDP framework for a while, we did previously have the sustainability tool that National Highways rolled out with RDP in 2019. And then they really want to put a focus on social value and reporting on that and how that was being measured within their supply chain, aligning with their social value learnings that they were, and their, what's the word I'm looking for, their document that they were releasing within the industry and the impact that they're doing. So the purpose of this is to really kind of monitor and report on the social value across all the major projects and frameworks, but also actually looking within the companies directly and seeing kind of how you are benchmarked against the industry. So the issues that we do report on now within the new social value tools, we've got economic prosperity, we've got ED&I, and we've got community wellbeing. So some of you may be familiar with the metrics that we've currently got. We'll go through them in a little bit. But these are the 3 areas that National Highways really wanted to focus in on and collect data within their supply chain and see how they were sort of doing across different regions, across different frameworks, and then within different contractors within the industry. So I'll pass to Natalie, who's going to talk a little bit about social value within the RDP. So Natalie, over to you.
Thanks, Bryony. I'm just going to wait for the slide. So thanks, hi everyone. I'm Natalie. I'm the Employment Education and Skills Manager for the Costain Jacobs RDP North Framework. I'm just going to go over a couple of slides just to show some of the social value activities that we've been doing across the framework, and really some of the things that we've put in place and some of the things we're doing to kind of approach the issues that Bryony just mentioned on the screen. So you can see here on the slide, and I think Bryony later touches on the individual metrics. So you can see how these relate to those metrics. Some of our social value metrics that we've been, and the data that we've been collecting. So 66% of the workforce live within 40 miles of the schemes. We've engaged with, the data from this is as of December 2022. As you can imagine, anyone that's involved with social value, it changes a lot. So just to mention, it's December 22. Engaged with 1,543 unemployed people. That's through careers events, so local careers events, as well as pre-employment programs, which I'll touch on a little bit later. 24 armed forces veterans are working across the RDP North scheme. 11% of those working as part of the workforce were previously unemployed before joining the scheme, and we've supported 2,134 apprenticeship weeks. Next slide, please, Bryony. So this slide covers our school engagement strategy. So school engagement falls under the community wellbeing pillar that Bryony will discuss a little bit later. So alongside working with lots of schools in the North East, our strategic vision was to partner with a key school per scheme, really to see where, using our GIS capabilities to see where we could add the most benefit and really offer meaningful engagement. So you can see on the screen that you our partnered UTC, that's one of our commitments, is UTC South Durham. So that's somebody that a college that we work with really closely as part of the framework. Trinity Solutions is an SEN school local to our A1 Scotswood to North Brunton scheme, who educate learners age 7 to 16. As well as Lord Lawson, so anybody local to the Bertley area might be aware of Lord Lawson. So we've partnered with Lord Lawson for our A1 Bertley to Coalhouse scheme. And as a partnered school, we offer extra reporting capabilities through the START platform. So this platform supports students with career engagement, as well as with their Gatsby benchmarking. We offer an enterprise advisor or equivalent. So if schools already have an enterprise advisor, we'll offer equivalent. But at the moment, I'm the enterprise advisor for A1 Scotswood to North Brunton, and our community relations manager, Sandra, is the enterprise advisor for Lord Lawson. We offer multiple site visits throughout the years, work experience opportunities, as well as apprenticeship opportunities. Next slide, please, Bryony. Moving on to diverse recruitment. Diverse recruitment falls into multiple categories really in the pillars, but the EDI section as well as economic prosperity. So our diverse recruitment strategy enables us to share all of our vacancies with local and national partners, and you can see some of the examples on the screen there. We offer support and guidance to support applicants into those positions that we're advertising, as well as work experience and insight sessions, really to support the understanding of the roles. What we have noticed with working with the different organisations is sometimes they just need that little bit of an extra helping hand when applying for vacancies. So what we've done is support those in applying. As well as mock interviews and employability skills workshop days. So there's just a couple of pictures on the slide there to show some of the events that we've been part of. So HMP Northumberland with kind of careers events and open events to kind of show the roles that we've got available, as well as local careers events with DWPs. Next slide, please, Bryony. This slide, quite a big focus of 2022, looking at this slide, was pre-employment programmes, so around economic prosperity, trying to bring skilled people from diverse pools into the industry. So in January 2022, we set up the first Building Heroes on-site groundworks and civils training academy. Building Heroes is a national charity and they support veterans transitioning into construction industry. So the programmes themselves are 5-week programmes focusing on street works and the guys getting their CSCS cards. 42 people have joined onto the programme so far, and we have another 11, I think it is, registered to sign up on Monday. As well, last year in October, we hosted and ran the Prince's Trust Get Into Highways Construction programme at RDP North. So this was the first of its kind, focusing on digital and green skills. Excellent 10-day programme. and we're working with a lot of the supply chain partners to offer employment opportunities at the end for the guys, as well as driving lessons and things along there. So it was a really good year for pre-employment programs last year. Next slide, please. And something that's really important to us across the framework is early careers. We see the importance, I think everybody on the call knows the importance of bringing young, fresh talent into the industry. So you can see on the figures, we focus a lot on recruiting new apprentices as well as upskilling our existing staff. Trainees, graduates, kickstart programs, so really a variety of different work placements, paid placements to bring new people into the industry. Next slide, please, Bryony. And I mean, all this is really, really great, but to maximise all the benefits, we really need your help. If we work as a team, we will be able to have the maximum benefits for the industry, really. So I guess what we're asking is for you to report your own data about your workforce and supply chain, and anything that you're not collecting already to try and put some mechanisms in place to collect. Report any of the social value activities that you're doing already, anything within the scheme areas. And as you can see, we set up quite a lot of things on the project. So any of the activities that we're running, please try and get involved in any way that you can. So I'll pass back to Bryony to go into the details of the tool.
That's great. Thank you so much, Natalie. And yeah, I think just to highlight what Natalie said, it's really great to see, because obviously, you know, it's great seeing the data and it's great to have these numbers, but it really is good to actually find out about what these numbers, what's behind them and what they actually mean and what's actually happening. And I think that's what National Highways want to get across, is that the purpose of this tool isn't to criticise and see where people maybe aren't doing as much or could do more. It's more about highlighting actually just the amazing work that people are doing. And, you know, some of those figures that Natalie showed earlier, which relate to the metrics I'll show later on, are just really great to see. And that's really kind of what this tool is about, is being able to log and to track those, and just kind of showcase exactly kind of what you as contractors and suppliers are actually doing to support social value within the framework. So going back to the tool, so hopefully you've kind of all, you know, have logged in before and you've seen it, but just to a bit of an overview of how it's structured. So it's what we call our reporting hierarchy within the tool. So we have National Highways, that's that right at the top. So they have their own corporate dashboard, which only they have access to. So they can see kind of everything below them. So within the tool, we have different frameworks. So we've currently got live, RDP and SDF, and we are in the process of setting up the SNP Alliance and LTC, and looking at some other frameworks as well later down the line. So under their level, we've got the reporting unit dashboard. So this is where the likes of Costain sits. So this is where all the tier 1 contractors sit. So they can have a look at within RDP, for example, it's all broken down into regions. So they have them within their regions, which schemes that they have in those areas, and they can kind of break it down and see. So at a Costain level, they can actually have a look at how their overall performance is doing themselves, but they can also look at how the performance of each of their regions, or they can go further and look at how each of their schemes individually is actually performing, and they can kind of look at the activities that are happening with each of those levels. And then at the bottom level, we've got where all the suppliers and the reporting packages sit. So this is where you individually will report your data. One thing just to be aware of is that's completely unique to you. So obviously Costain can see what's reported within their frameworks, but no other suppliers or contractors across the tool or that framework can see any of your data. So it is completely protected, and it is private just to kind of yourselves and Costain. So there's no kind of GDPR issues there. Everything feeds upwards, so everything that's reported at the lower reporting package levels just feeds up, so that National Highways have that really big overall picture of their entire supply chain, and then breaking it down into different frameworks and schemes. So this is kind of how it looks at the moment. So as you can see, we've got RDP on the side, which is broken down into the 5 regions, and then you'd have example schemes within each one, within each contractor, and then you've got the suppliers. So that's kind of just a bit of a rough overview of kind of how it forms. So supplier A, for example, that would be where you guys' suppliers sit, and Costain would kind of be above that within the structure. So yeah, a little bit around the metrics and indicators. It's kind of hard to fit them all on the screen, so I will follow up with this. I can send out a PDF that has an overview of all the indicators and metrics on it, and I'll show you where you can find them in the tool as well. These were created by National Highways with the input of the RDP working group. They have used the TOMS framework as sort of guidelines, and then there's some stuff within their contracts that they specifically wanted to make sure they were measuring and collecting that they've kind of integrated as well. So some of the wording or some of the reporting, you might be kind of familiar with the language, or it may be something you've previously reported on before into other systems. So I'll not go through them all because it's quite a busy screen, but like I said, we've got economic prosperity, ED&I, and community wellbeing. All the ones that have percentages next to them, they're what we call indicators. So they're ones where you can see that's not what you report on, that's metrics, well, indicators that the tool itself works out. So for example, if you want to know the indicator of the percentage of full-time female employees working on the scheme, you have a metric you'd input, which is your full-time employees, and then number of females working on the scheme, and the tool works those out for you. So there's only actually, I think there's about 37 or 38 there, but there's only 26, 27 of them that you actually report on, and then the tool works out the rest for you. So so just a little bit around the different roles. So the main roles that we're kind of focusing on today is the reporter and the approver. So this is the roles that you guys will have. You also will have potentially an admin within your scheme, within your account, and then you can also have viewers. But the admins and the viewers are more for the Costain employees and kind of more at that tier 1 level. Anyone kind of who is managing that scheme at the tier 1 level. So the reporter, that is the person essentially who enters the data into the tool. So each month you would get a reminder, sorry, each quarter you'd get a reminder come through from the tool, and you're the one that has access to kind of input that data and go through the report. You can also modify submitted data. And then the approver is the person, this is just for belts and braces, really, just to really make sure that once the data is submitted by the reporter, it will then go to the approver just to kind of check through and make sure it's all correct and kind of matches with what you've got internally. And then they can approve or reject it and submit it for the final time, and that's when it goes to National Highways. So it's just sort of that second level of just a proofread, basically, to make sure that it's okay. And then the admin level, that's sort of the highest authority level. Like I said, we don't need to focus on that too much because that's more at the Costain level. So they can sort of set up and manage the account. They can modify settings and kind of navigate through their dashboards. And a viewer is essentially just somebody who they can't do anything to the dashboard, but they have access to see it. So if there was somebody in your company that was, involved in social value or kind of involved in that scheme that didn't need to be involved in the tool in terms of submitting data and reporting, but was, wanting to see how your company itself was performing, you can set up viewers as well who can just sort of see that, and they can export reports and have a look at the data. So they're just the kind of the roles that we have. So the best thing to probably do is just knowing kind of who your admin is. So I believe we have a couple admins within Costain for each of the RDP schemes. So I know Natalie is one and Joanna is one. I'll have a look and see just to confirm who the others are. But if you kind of have any issues or any questions, they're kind of your first point of call. We also do have an info@ email, which is on the landing page of the tool, which I'll send through to everybody. So, if you're on the tool and you're not quite sure how to do something, or you maybe see a bug or something's not quite working right, you can either speak to your admin in the first instance, or you can email straight through and it comes through to my team to kind of see, we get tickets raised to sort of see, and we can address those directly with you. So there's not really anything you need to do about the admin side of things, but it's just good to know kind of what they do within the tool, just so you're kind of aware of the different roles that Costain have. So yeah, so reporting and approving. So this is kind of the main bulk of what you guys will be doing. So looking at the reporter first and the approver, we'll go through. So you should all have accounts set up. If anyone is struggling to kind of find their login details, you can email me and we can kind of get those, we can get you reset up. But essentially, if there's anybody new that needs to be set up, I know some of you have just been set up recently, you should have received an email directly from the tool. And what it does is it just sends you a registration link and it will just ask you to confirm your account. So I've set everybody up already and have assigned them to the relevant projects. But all you guys need to do is just set up your password to kind of confirm your account, your email address. So your username is just your company email address that you use. When you then do this, it will take you to the project invites and you will go in and accept the roles and the different schemes you're working on. So it may be that you're working on multiple schemes with an RDP for Costain, so you can accept all of them. Once you've done that, when you then go to log in, you will then have access to the reports. So I'll go through it in the tool as well, just to show you a live version. But so it's quarterly reporting for National Highways. The reporting periods work on a calendar basis. So Q1 is January 1st through to March 31st, and then so on, kind of as you go through the quarters. There is, as I say, automatic email notifications will come out. So they should be coming out tomorrow, actually. I think we've changed them actually, so they always come out on the Friday, but they would come out hopefully kind of to the back end of today, and this will go automatically to your email address just to let you know that you're sort of 7 days away from the deadline. We've set the deadline as 14 days after the end of the reporting period, just to give everybody time to kind of collect that data and make sure it's accurate so that you're getting the full quarter in. When you get the email, there'll be a link in there. So you can either log in directly or you can just follow the link and it will take you straight to your reporting package. So as you can see, we've got the tabs at the top here, which are the 3 sustainability issues. And you just go through and you can fill in the values. All the metrics are mandatory. So you can see they're all red stars. If you hover over the eye icon, it will give you a bit more of a description. Some of them are quite self-explanatory, but for example, number of local employees, the I just gives you a definition of what National Highways is defined as local for this scheme. And you've got kind of the units down the side and you would just submit your values here. You can add comments if you want. So if you know there's a specific number that you want to kind of explain how you've got that or where it's came from, feel free. You don't have to put comments in, it's not mandatory, but it's quite good sometimes, you know, if you've got a real large number 1 month, it's good sometimes just to explain kind of where that's come from. As I say, all the metrics are currently mandatory. However, what National Highways really want to stress is not to get too bogged down on all the metrics, because we do understand that this is quite a new process for some people. With some of the smaller SMEs, this may not all be data that you do definitely collect. So you know, it is quite hard sometimes to collect this level of data, especially if you're quite new to it. So what you can have the option to do is if you see these NAs down the side, you can tick them, and what it will do is it will grey out that metric, and that will just allow you to continue to move on. So don't worry too much if some of the metrics you don't have, you can just grey them out and then you can move on. Because what National Highways are saying is they would much rather have quality over quantity. So they would much rather have 15 metrics that you know are really accurate, it's really good data, and it is correct, than trying to fill in all the metrics and it not quite be as accurate as you would like it, or it kind of be a bit hashed together. So don't worry too much if you know you look at some of these metrics and you think, God, we don't report on that or we don't collect that data. It's kind of a work in progress at the moment. So just try and fill in as much as you can, really sort of high quality and accurate data. So once you've done that and you've submitted your report, you will go through and just check it, and there's a button right at the bottom that says submit report, and this then goes to your report submitted page. So this is when the approver would then get an email to tell them Bryony has submitted this report, please go in to approve. So they again would just follow the link in their email and come through to this this section, and the most recent one is at the top of the list. And on this cog at the side, they would just click it and they would go on view. So they can just kind of go through, read through the data, and then there's a button at the bottom that will say either approve or reject, and you can just choose to do that. You have to write a little comment, but most of the time we just kind of write, approved or approved by or something. So you don't need to go into too much detail there. If you do notice a mistake or something that's not quite right, you can reject it and sort of you can put a comment in there to say, oh, this figure here in this metric isn't correct, or this has been missed, and that will just go back to the reporter for them to redo and to tidy up, and then they can resubmit it back to you to approve. Yeah, so this is just kind of down at the bottom here, where you just need to write something. It's just to confirm that you have actually approved it. So in terms of the dashboards, you yourself as well, this is the really good thing about the tool. Obviously, Costain themselves and National Highways do have their corporate dashboards that allows them to see the performance across their entire supply chain. But it's really good for you as suppliers as well. You actually will have your own smaller dashboards that shows that can show you how you're performing as well. So over time, each quarter, as you collate these reports and you kind of add more to the system, your dashboard will start to grow, and you can actually look at each quarter and you can look at the different metrics and indicators and see how you're performing. So it is a really good tool for you as suppliers to be able to have access to, so that you can just track your own performance as well. There may be certain things that you want to improve on, or certain areas that you are really working hard on at the moment, and it's really good to kind of see that data come to life. So at the moment, it is RAG rated, so you do have the option in the tool to have a benchmark set for each of the metrics and indicators, and then they will go kind of red, orange, green, depending on how it's performing. At the moment, National Highways don't have this because they don't really want to set any, they're not really focusing for the first year on benchmarking and targets. It's more about just the exercise of getting used to collecting the data and reporting on it. They are talking about setting some benchmarks and targets based on industry data that we've collected over the last year within social value. But if this does happen, and when this happens, obviously everyone will be made aware, and they'll kind of be made aware of kind of how this looks and why this has happened and things like that. So at the moment, your dashboard will just be completely grey, so don't need to worry too much about the colour coding. Perfect. So what I will do is I'll just quickly stop. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to pop it in the chat or pop your hand up. I always say I've said this to Natalie a couple of times, I do sometimes go through this quite fast because I take for granted that I spend about 50% of my time within this tool. So for me, it's kind of second nature. But if anyone does have any questions or anything as I'm kind of going through, please do just let me know. What I'll do though is I will share, I'll show you kind of a live demo of the tool just so you can see how it looks and just kind of help you navigate sort of where you would find things within the system. So yeah, so obviously this isn't my system's a lot messier because I've kind of got access to the entire National Highways account. So at the side here, you can see it's kind of broken down into some of the framework we've got starting at the moment. And within RDP, as you can see, it's broken down into the different regions. Within those regions, you've then got different tier ones, and then the schemes. So for Costain, we've got the A1 Birtley and the A1 Scotswood. The A1 Birtley has now stopped reporting, but the data is still sat in there because obviously we want to still be able to collect and see kind of how that performed when it was live. So if I go into the A1 Birtley, you can see down the side here, this is where each of the suppliers sit. So when you go in, you will just see, if you're, for example, working on this scheme, you will just see North, and then you'll see A1 Birtley, and you'll just see your company account. So you won't see all of these other suppliers. So if I go into Costain, for example, this is, there we go. This is where you would find your data. So when you click onto your account, you can see here it goes into italics. So when you go onto the Costain account itself, you can see you've got the dashboard at the top, and this is what yours would look like individually. So this is not for the whole of Costain, this is just for this particular scheme that they themselves are reporting on for their direct reports. And you can click onto each of these and it breaks down and shows you the different indicators and metrics. And then you can break those down into graphs, or you can export the data. We are working on some features to have pie charts and have it look a bit more visual for people. So we are working on those improvements at the moment. But to access your reports, if you did want to go in manually to do it, you just click on your section in italics, and it takes you to the reporting package. And you can see up here at the top, you've got the reporting package. So this is where you would just click reports due, and it takes you to this month. So you can see the reporting period is here. As I said, the deadline for this is the 14th of Jan. So don't worry if you haven't submitted yet. There's still obviously, you know, time to do so. And yep, this is where you would just go through and fill everything in. Like I say, when you click NA, that's kind of what grays out. And then you just mark that section as complete. When you do put things in, or you kind of submit data and you add stuff, as you can see, these black ticks are appearing. That just means that it saved that data. So if there is multiple people who are reporting into the tool, who have access, and you're kind of doing one part of it and maybe another colleague is doing ED&I, you could actually, as long as those black ticks are there, it will save the data, and then you can go away and come back and that data will still be there. So, you know, if there's a couple of you who are inputting data, you can kind of do it at different times as long as those black ticks do appear. And then similarly for the report submitted, you just go into the exact same place at the top, you find report submitted, and this is where it is. So you can see that these are the last two that have been submitted and Natalie has approved those, and you just would go in and you can view, approve and reject depending on what you need to do. So I think that's kind of everything I wanted to go through. Like I say, we've recorded this session, so obviously, you know, we'll send out the recording. We've got plenty of training guides and materials, PDFs and things like that, if there are other people kind of within your company that you want to share this with. I'm always available as well. So, you know, you should all have my email. I'll follow up after this with an email just with this recording of the session. So you can either kind of contact myself, contact your admin, or that info box is really useful if there's something quite quick. We've got an SLA of 24 hours to give a first response to it, just to address any issues. So we've kind of got a few ways to kind of get in contact with the team. But yeah, hopefully that was, you know, helpful. There's some kind of new things in there. Natalie, I don't know if there's kind of anything else you wanted to cover, or if anyone does have any questions, like I say, please just, you know, come off mic or pop it in the chat and just let me know if there's any questions.
No, just really, if anybody's got any questions. I know something that we mentioned, Bryony, was those that are new to the tool and maybe take a while to kind of get up and running and report the data. Even though the deadline's the 14th, this time there is a little bit of leeway, just because this training is quite close to the deadline. So please use that time to ask Bryony any questions or anything really. So yeah, is there any questions from anybody about the tool or about some of the activities on Berkeley or RDP North? Done in silence.
I always take silence as that I've not completely shocked you. I take it more as I've done such a good job that it's totally explained and everything. But just to iterate Natalie's point as well, please don't feel like you know, you need to struggle with this. If it is your first time on the tool, I'm more than happy, you know, drop me an email. I'm more than happy to jump on a quick call with you and share screen, and we can kind of go through it together. That's kind of what my job is here with the rollout of this tool, is to, you know, make sure it's a success really. So if you do have any issues at all, you know, my time is here for you guys to use. So please just feel free to contact me, and like I say, we can either just go through it on a call, or you know, I can kind of send through some helpful stuff. So any questions, that's kind of what I'm here for. So yeah, please just, you know, let me know.
I wonder if we are doing okay for time at the moment. Would it be possible to just stick cameras on and introduce for everybody to introduce themselves and just talk a bit about whether they are reporting elsewhere already for other projects or tier ones, and you know what kinds of activities they're doing and so on, if anything. Would that be okay? Excellent. Sarah, I can see. Hi Cassie, Chris, thank you. Yes, so shall we just do a very quick hi Suki, thank you. Sarah, would you like to just introduce yourself?
Hello, I assume you mean me.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, hi, Sarah McGregor here from Sunbelt Rentals. So we work across the UK on multiple accounts for multiple customers. It's more of a kind of support role that we play usually rather than direct to tier ones, although we do work direct to tier ones as well. So we have a team of 4 of us currently in the social impact team, and we are, like everybody, I think, extremely thinly spread, doing lots of wonderful projects and really just trying to make sure we're working towards those global sustainable development goals. So that's kind of where our focus is. We do have the social value portal, which we've been, I'll use the word dabbling with, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. We've had it as a tool internally. We've been trying to figure out what's the best way for it to work for us, but also for, you know, the customers that we work for as well. So we're actually doing some rejigging of that at the moment. So we're reporting to the portal. For us, we are starting to report any social value that we create for our customers. That's starting to go into the portal as well. So we're not claiming it for us. We're putting it in for our customers. And then the objective through the year is that we then start to report that up as well. So we can kind of see what's our corporate social value, our footprint, and then what is that additionality that we're doing for our customers. We work very strategic, or we try to be as strategic as possible, I should say, but I think we all know that's not always possible. There is a little bit of knee-jerking that has to happen sometimes. We try to approach things where possible using community needs assessment. So rather than doing things to communities, we like to make sure that we understand them as best as possible, and the where and how we should engage. And we try an awful lot to work collaboratively, because that for us is where we can kind of make the greatest difference. So we've got our own strategic projects aligned to our own social impact strategy, but we also do really, where possible, try to work with you guys and all the different supply chains to kind of see how we can add value together. So just throwing it out there, if anyone feels that they need some support in a particular area, give us a shout, because it's always worth a conversation to see how we can support. We might already be doing something in that field that we can join dots on, or it might be something that we just haven't got round to doing, and we can support you in doing that. Finally, I think, just because I'll talk forever, anyone that knows me, but just to kind of, the other thing that we do is we've developed over the course of the last about 9 months, not quite a year now, is regional social impact committees as well, because we want it to be driven by our employees. We want it to be embedded and part of who they are. So it's not just about volunteering for volunteering's sake. It's about looking after your communities, putting back where you live and work, but also using it as a individual development opportunity as well. So if you're looking to grow and develop professionally, personally, whatever that be, we want to try and tap into that as well. So the program at the moment runs, we've got 6 regions, and we're just so that's from Scotland, Wales, all the way through the UK, and then we're just because we operate in Ireland and Northern Ireland, so we're just starting a regional social impact committee there as well, and that's led by employees. They identify localized community projects. So what we then want to be able to do is see where the sweet spots are and where that marries up to what you guys may be doing, and are there any opportunities to collaborate there as well. So we've got strategic, and then more localized strategic as well. So I'll stop talking.
That's great. Do you have a Northeast regional committee, or do you have any strategic projects that are happening in the Newcastle Northeast area?
Sure. So yeah, in the Northeast area, we are just starting to work with a school over there. Oh goodness, I'm trying to remember now. This is my brain. I've just had the flu as well, so brain disengaging. It's the Archbishop Sentinel School, I believe, in Hull, I think, if my brain's gonna help me. So we're just starting some what we're calling a big beacon school program, so where we work strategically with them with paid work experience placements, and we're actually doing a collaboration there. I think off the top of my head it's with Balfour, but it might be Kia, so sorry, apologies for if I've not got that
Hull,
right.
it's probably Balfour, Beatty. Yeah.
Balfour, thank you. Yeah, it's been a long month. Yeah, so we're doing some work there. We also do some work around, we've had some oh goodness, like the growing tower work that we've been doing in one of our schools over there. Again, apologies, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. So
no, that's okay. It sounds like it's not Newcastle specific, which is, you know, obviously with the National Highways definition of scheme area, it's a 30-mile radius. And so that's from a generally from a schools and a community perspective anyway. So there's lots of things going on that we could hopefully engage your teams to support.
And I want to be able to, because that's one thing I haven't had the opportunity yet, is to put my arms around this particular scheme and say, right, so where are those demographics? You know, what are we already doing there? What can we do, and so on? And that's definitely in my notes, one of my fabulous takeaways to do.
Well, so, there you go. So that summary that you heard, we'll be sending that out, and we'd love to talk in more detail about.
Absolutely, yeah. There's like I see HMP Northumberland, and that's something we're starting to do some work with the recruitment junction, because we work with those and support the guys there. They're an amazing team. We've actually got some of our traffic division are going into HMP Northumberland to see how they can support from mock interviews and so on. So there's lots of things on the horizon. It's definitely much more that we can do. And North Regional Social Impact Committee, we realise, because when you say the North, that's Cumbria,
it's big, isn't it?
It's a big area, Manchester and so on. So we are getting to that point where I think we're going to have to split that in two somewhat to make it more effective. But definitely any conversations we can have, let's set some time up and we can see how we can support you and really get something good going. Definitely, yes.
And are you comfortable now reporting directly into the tool for your work relating to the Berkeley scheme?
So that's one of the things the issues I've had, which was going to take offline afterwards, is around accessing the portal. So I haven't used the supply chain sustainable
National Highways
yet. For National Highways, no. And we've been trying to get to the bottom of where do we sit there, because we cut across so many. But so I'm trying to understand that the where do we sit, and it's been like unraveling a very massive ball of wool. But we're getting much closer to it. So hopefully over the course of the next month, we'll be in a position where we've got our arms around that a bit more, and then we can start to make sure we're reporting in as and when needed. Yeah. Absolutely. So some work needs to be done, but we know where we need to go with it now.
Well, if we can take that offline then and try and pin that down as soon as we can, because as Natalie was saying, the reporting for the Q4, October to December, is in January. So we're trying to gather as much data as we can about all the good stuff that's been happening in the last half 2022.
Sure. Absolutely, yes.
So sorry, yes. Suki, hi. Perhaps you would introduce yourself for us.
Hi, Happy New Year to everybody.
And you.
Hi, I'm Suki. I'm actually with Danny Sullivan Group as their social value, skills and employment advisor. And I did meet a couple of you at the Bladen Hub just before Christmas, and thank you for that invite. It was really, really good. Just to give you a quick update on that, actually, I think I've got 3 of the candidates registered and ready to sort of start work. So I'll keep you updated.
Brilliant.
On that progress. So that's really, really good news. We had, I think, 2 of them just before Christmas got in touch, and then one I've just been speaking to this week. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get placements in for those and some employment secured for them.
Brilliant.
And pretty much along the lines of what Sarah just said, the aim is to work collaboratively, you know, with as many businesses as we can, organisations, as a labour supply chain. Obviously, I've used the tool. I'm very new to the organisation. I joined mid-November. So reporting is quite new to me in this sort of area. However, I have had some access to the sustainability tool reporting through one of the other contractors that we're working with. So I'm kind of getting my head around it. I think it just looks a little bit more difficult than it actually is, but really, really good for capturing the data, I think. So yeah, it's not been too difficult as I thought it would be. I think it just looks a little bit daunting when you see all the sections, etc. But no, yes, so looking forward to keeping those projects going with yourselves. And obviously, again, as Sarah said, if there's anything that we can support with, Danny Sullivan have just secured have been awarded. So we've launched our DSG Academy, where we wanted to start offering training for upskilling within the construction industry. And we've just been awarded through CITB a tender for offering training in terms of ILM. So it is on our LinkedIn as well. So if anybody's interested in upskilling their staff, themselves, etc., please get in touch with us. Or if you've got any candidates that would benefit from that training, we are working with an apprenticeship organisation as well. All the information is on LinkedIn, or you can go direct to the website or contact me myself, and I can put you in touch with Rory, who's handling everything to do with the academy at the moment with myself. So yeah, just looking to upskill people in the construction industry that's not necessarily site related as such. So looking at the admin side, the upskilling management projects, etc. So that's the first set of training that we'll be doing, but we have agreed on a large scale to train people throughout 2023, and obviously we'll be holding different qualifications under our belt to be able to continue that training momentum. We're starting in the south. We do have partnerships across the country, so don't think it's only for people within that region. It is nationally, and then obviously with the success of the south, we will then have one in the Midlands as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. So there is a lot going on.
And the north?
And the north as well, definitely, yes. Well, when I say Midlands, it's Midlands and North, which is sort of my remit. And as you know, the north is huge. So yes, definitely, without a doubt. And again, just been having conversations with liaising with prisons, etc. So we are very, very much about making sure that we can work with prisons, get people back into resettlement and employment, as well as ex-military, as you know, working with yourselves on the Building Heroes project as well. So yeah, a lot going on at the moment.
Excellent. Thank you. That's
Thank
great.
you.
How are we doing for time? Yes, Chris.
Yeah, hi, good morning. I'm Chris from Cementation Skanska. I work in pre-construction and business development now, but also I've worked in operations as well. We've got Cassie Fish on the call too, who was one of our project managers on the Berkeley project until very recently. So in terms of social value, we're part of Skanska UK, so we get a lot of exposure and involvement in initiatives through our parent company. But then as a specialist business covering the UK, we work for a lot of different tier 1 contractors in infrastructure and building projects. So in terms of reporting, it depends very much on project requirements and what we're required to do on the jobs. We don't employ dedicated resource in terms of social value. So it'd be down to our project teams to do the reporting and engage with the tools.
Okay.
And I'd probably, final point very briefly, the North East has been quite busy for us over the last 3 or 4 years, but it's an area where we're not currently seeing, we've not got much secured work or many priority opportunities in the North East at the moment, incidentally.
So I think then that it would, because I know that you've been working very hard in the last 3 months or so on the Berkeley scheme. So it would just be in terms of reporting your diversity data stats about the workforce that have been working on the project.
Yeah, and it's probably been, it was 2019 we started on the ECI, and we've been delivering, is it what, 18 months, Cassie, or so? So I'm not sure how at what point the reporting picked up. Cassie will know more than me, but yeah,
yes, so
we're close to the end of our
suppliers are just coming on board because the tool launched last year, and obviously you've been working on the scheme for, as you say, 2 years or whatever, and so at this point we're just asking people to report stats for the last quarter, because that's the, I mean obviously if you can do 2 years worth of stats, then that's great, but you know, we're not asking for any more than the last quarter. And I don't know, are you finishing on the project in the next quarter, or will it be kind of more towards the middle of the year?
Is it this quarter, Cassie?
Yeah, this week for us, and then mine treatment should be in about February.
And then February, yeah, okay. Yeah, so we can have a chat about. I mean, obviously you've seen the list of metrics there, so it's really about what data do you have that you can report. Obviously, if you haven't got data, then you can't report it. So that's you know, we're just asking people to see what they have and to you know, ask any questions or whatever. Bryony's there from a tool perspective, and any questions for us as well.
Cool.
Thank you. So Maria, I think we've just got time. Are you there, Maria? Maybe Maria's had to do something else. Michael, are you there?
Hi there, everyone.
Hello.
So my name is Michael. I'm from EMJ Plastics. We've been fortunate enough to work on the two structures. So you've got the Aladdin Bridge, and then you've also got the other two precast bridges that are getting installed as we speak in the next sort of few months, the Eton Lodge ones.
Yeah.
We, you know, compared to everyone else on the team, we don't have a dedicated resource for the social side, if you like. So really, we're more of a
Absolutely,
case of,
there's a huge variety of different suppliers
we're
working on this.
fairly small, but we deal with all the sort of tier one. So similar to what Chris was saying there, I think what we would be basically doing off the basis of the email that came through from, I think it was Natalie who sent us an email at the beginning, was just to have a look at the portal. We haven't, you know, since the Christmas break, I haven't logged into it. We'll log in, and similar to how I think yourself and Bryony said at the very beginning, is just the relevant information that we do have.
Yes.
We'll populate what we've got. We're
Thank you.
similar to Chris. We'll probably finish in this the end of this quarter. Maybe it might extend into H2, but that would be us. I think all we would do is just report as best we can, and then it's just good to be involved in it, because I guess I know this is the social side, but we're looking at as a wider business sustainability things of, you know, carbon output, all that sort of stuff. So we're trying to adapt as a business. And you know, even from our own point of view, we were in the northeast, so we were in Filey, but we've actually moved to North Lincolnshire now, so not quite Yorkshire anymore. So we're not as close to Newcastle as we once were. But from our point of view, even with the local council, we took a lot of people on with either, you know, different abilities or maybe in financial hardships, and that to recruit the new factory that we've had during COVID. That wasn't the ideal time to do it, but it happened anyway. But things like this, anything we can learn from, or statistics or reporting metrics, we as a business at EMJ are always trying to learn the best way to move forward. So if you've got certain things to report on, we might not have the data initially, but it will just maybe prompt us as a business to go, right, that's particular information that Costain and the wider people like Balfour Beatty, whoever it may be, would be looking for in the future. So I guess that's more of what I'm keen to learn from the session.
That's great. Yeah, and National Highways have picked a set of metrics that, you know, you may not be collecting data about at the moment, and it's the same for us. We are having to start collecting data that we weren't collecting before. You know, these areas are huge in terms of sustainability and social impact, and you know, different clients want different aspects reported on. But if there are things that you're doing in your business in terms of recruitment and training and employment and so on that aren't necessarily covered by these metrics, then we would still love to know about it. You know, because obviously we can highlight, there is also a case study narrative aspect to the social value reporting. It's not just all about the numbers.
No, it makes complete sense. But from my end, it was just quite useful just to kind of listen to other people like Sarah and that discuss what they're doing on their end, and then I guess all we can do is we'll log in, and I know Bryony and Natalie and yourself will all be there for us if we struggle, which is more than likely. You will probably get an email from me saying I'm struggling on the portal, and then
please
we'll just sort of
do
take
if
it
you
from there.
are, don't yeah.
Brilliant. No, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I think that's everybody. Sarah, you have your hand up.
take the mic off helps. Yeah, just wanted to say, you know, completely understand, you know, with any of you guys that don't have dedicated social impact teams or resource or anything like that. But again, that's where we can certainly help you from a Sunbelt Rentals perspective, and I'm sure everyone else on the call as well. It really is, you know, we can be that extension of your team as well. So if there's, it's worth just, you know, having a conversation, seeing how we might be able to work together, seeing if there's any opportunities to collaborate. It doesn't matter how big or small the organisation is, you know, just making sure that you know there's an open door there. So if anyone wants to give us a call or drop us an email, always welcome and always happy to discuss how we can work together.
That's great, Sarah. Thank you very much. I think you have the advantage of having really national coverage.
That does
You
make
know,
a difference. Yeah.
as tier ones, we generally work very intensively in smaller geographic locations, you know, but you're constantly working in across the country, aren't you? So collaboratively, we are going to be building a really good map of what's going on around the country as we start reporting all of this data and start building up a picture. So it's a really exciting time, isn't it?
Definitely. And I've just seen that Suki's put her email in the chat, so I'll do that as well, just so we can join dots if that's okay.
Excellent.
Fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, everybody. And yes, please do, when you log in and have a look, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And we're really looking forward to finding out more about what all your businesses are doing and how we can work together.
Perfect. Thanks,
Great.
Joanna.
Thank
And
you.
yes, I'll follow
Thanks.
this up. I'll send everyone through an email kind of with the recording once I get it up online, and I'll send through kind of some hints and tips. And yeah, you've all got my email, so if you know over the next couple of weeks anyone is struggling, just give me a shout.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
great
Thanks,
weekend.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.